Hello, and welcome to Cybersecurity Today, the podcast where we explore the latest trends, innovations, and challenges in the world of cybersecurity. I'm your host, Taha, and today we're diving into a crucial topic that impacts just about everyone: security in the social media space. With billions of users sharing their personal lives online, social media platforms are the prime targets for cyber attacks. From identity theft to phishing scams, the risks are very real, and the consequences can be quite severe. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Today, we're going to explore the ins and outs of cybersecurity in the social media landscape, what you need to know, how you can protect yourself, and why it matters to be vigilant more than ever. Join me, Joining me is our cybersecurity expert, Tasim Hussain, who will break it down for all of us in a way that's both informative and practical. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, techglide.com, for more information on how to keep your website secure. You can also check out our full range of maintenance services designed to make your website as secure as possible. So let's dive in.
Hi, Taha. Thanks for having me. I am really excited we're talking about this topic today. While social media is informative, fun, and engaging, I think it's a prime target for cyber criminals. That's why it's so important for all of us to understand the risks and how we can protect ourselves.
Absolutely. So let's start from the top. What exactly is cybersecurity, and how does it relate to our social media use?
Absolutely. So just kind of brief understanding on cybersecurity. At its core, cybersecurity is all about making systems that talk with internet safe, be it hardware, software, or data. This is much like you secure your house and everything that's inside your house from potential intruders. Cyber attacks can take many forms, but ultimately, the aim of the cyber criminals, is to steal, manipulate, or destroy your information, your personal information or data. So in this context, or in the context of social media, cybersecurity is about protecting user accounts, your personal data, any message that you post on social media, anything that you put out there on social media, you have to protect that from being hacked or compromised. So, social media is very tricky. Why? Because it operates in a very open, highly connected environment. Um, Let me use an analogy, a simple analogy. Your banking app. Everything relating to a banking app is designed to be secure and private. But when it comes to social media apps, these actually encourage you to share, to connect, and to interact with people openly and freely. So, you see the way these apps are set up, it's built on trust. It's kind of inviting people to trust it. So people not only trust these apps, but they exchange messages, they share their personal photos, family, kids, anybody, any photos. Not only photos, even they even share their locations of where they are in that moment in time. And this is what makes social media platforms a very attractive target for criminals.
That's a great point, and thank you so much for sharing that background information that our listeners would really want. So much of social media is about sharing things like photos, personal thoughts on Twitter, or like their location. But how much of that can actually be dangerous if it falls into the wrong hands?
Daha, a lot more than people realize. Let me just give you an example. When you post a photo and tag your location, you know, your live photo with a location, you're giving away where you are in that moment in time. And this is very risky. This information, if it falls in wrong hands, it can be very risky. Why? Because essentially you're telling, somebody with malicious intent, hey, I'm not home. I'm not even in the country, or I'm not even in the town. So imagine what they can do with that information. Even something as simple as posting your birthday or name of your pet. This can be dangerous too. Again, why? Because most times, from our experience, most times people use these kind of, information as security questions for password recovery. So, I have seen people try to use information which they can remember, which is, so easy for them to remember. Birthday, friend's name, friend's birthday, pet, all that. So hackers, they piece this kind of information together. A lot of your personal information that you provide or you post on social media, they piece it together to kind of learn about you, get information about you. And it's not just about what you post, it's also about the data social media platform collects about you behind the scenes. So you see, these platforms are collecting your browsing habits, your interactions with various ads that pop up, or even your private messages. So all of this information that you provide, plus what social media platform is collecting together, can be very valuable for hackers. Again, these hackers are after your identity. They want to steal your identity. So you see how much information they're getting readily available on social media platforms. Um, Using this information, they can conduct scams, they can sell your data on the dark web, they can do anything they want. So that's why we need to learn as much as we can, Daha, about this, and create awareness among people, about the dangers of social media.
Yeah, it's wild to think that like something as innocent as me like posting my pet's photo could lead to something like identity theft. So you talked about how like social media is used a lot for like this identity theft. Why do hackers use this? Like what makes these platforms so vulnerable that it's an easy target for these cyber criminals to like steal our identity and then do whatever they do with it?
Yeah, good question. There are a few key reasons. So first, think about how much data is posted to social media every day. The volume is like, incredible. So, and if you put it all together, like from different platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you have these billions of users. Each one of them is generating a lot of data every day. So that data, all put together is very valuable. Not just to, advertisers, using it for business purposes, but also to cyber criminals. Hackers target social media because they know it's a gold mine of personal information they can basically use for fraud, extortion, or identity theft. Second is social media platforms are connected ecosystems. I'm sure you all are aware, how things are connected on social media platform. So think about how many apps and websites you log into using social media accounts. Let me give you an example. Um, using something that's called OAuth integration or authentication. I log into a lot of applications. One of the examples, simple example is if I want to log into my Spotify account, I'm usually presented with options like log in with my Spotify ID password or continue with Google or Facebook or Apple ID. What does that mean? Connecting with other apps like Google, Facebook, or Apple. Um, For example, I choose to log in with my Google account. What it will do is it will use my Gmail ID and password to connect me to Spotify. Even though it does not, share my Gmail password with Spotify, it still shares limited information to authenticate me into Spotify. So I'm sure, a lot of you are doing something similar, using OAuth authentication to log into some of the other apps or services. And,
Yeah, for me,
we
it's a
do this.
lifesaver. For me,
Yep,
it's a lifesaver because I
absolutely.
don't have to like remember my passwords. I just use login through Google, like on
Yep.
most of my accounts. So yeah, it is quite convenient.
Yeah, and it's convenient because I don't have to create that many logins for different apps. I'm just using my Google to log into everything. So if I have to change the password, I mean, my thought is if I have to change password, I'm going to change my Gmail password. But imagine if any of these third-party apps were to be compromised, it will give hackers a backdoor into social media account, and even worse, it will give them, a foot into all of these linked accounts with whatever account you're using. So that can be very dangerous because if one is compromised, then all of the ones that are linked to it will be compromised. And then the third reason is there is this issue with social engineering, and I'm sure most of you know what that is. But again, social engineering is a tactic where hackers manipulate people into giving their confidential information. So social media is a prime environment or a perfect environment for this because people tend to trust links or messages that come from their friends or followers. Why would you not? I trust my friends. Why would my friends send me something malicious, right? So imagine if one of your friends' accounts was hacked and you got a message, a phishing message from them. You would trust it and you would follow whatever its, instructions or whatever it's asking you to do and provide it. So again, social engineering is very easy, to be done through hacked social media accounts.
Yeah, all
So
those
those,
points that you mentioned were are quite valid. Like the way how I think about it is like social media is like a spider web, right? With where everything's connected to each other. And if like one thread is compromised, then the whole thing can fall apart, which is something like you alluded to. And you mentioned social engineering. Could you explain some of the specific types of cyber attacks, like these tactics that these hackers use that we commonly see in the social media space?
Absolutely, Taha, and I loved your spider web analogy. That is what it is. But sure, I'd definitely love to expand a little bit more on it. So one of the most social engineering is like a big umbrella. Under it, you have a lot of different types. One of the most common type of attack is called phishing. I'm sure you've all heard about it, but what phishing really is um, if somebody sends you a message, a direct message, either via email or text or whatever, whatever may be the media, it's a digital medium they use to send you a message. And for social media, it could be a message from your friend. And per se, it contains a link that's asking you to log in or provide personal information. And once you do that, once you follow the link and you've provided the information it's asking, the hacker has your credentials now and can take over your account. Another big one is called credential stuffing. This happens when hackers use lists of previously stolen usernames and passwords. And how do they get hands on that? What happens is sometimes um, people well, not sometimes, most times, people will for social media accounts and stuff, reuse their passwords for different sites. So if one account is compromised or one account is hacked and they're able to successfully get your credentials, they will definitely try other social media platforms, try the same, username password that they got hands on and see if they can hack it. So essentially, that is what credential stuffing is. Another popular one is called malware. So what happens with this one is hackers will trick you into downloading malicious code or software. And you know what? This code can be a disguise. It can be a file or a link that a friend shared with you. If you click on it, what it will do is whatever that code or software is, it will install on your device in the background. And then once that malware or that code is installed on your device, it can give hackers access to your system or application, um, you know, or your device, and then any information, personal data that's residing on your device can be compromised too. Just this morning, I was reading about another new one. It's called quishing with Q. And essentially what quishing, just like phishing, is QR codes. People are using fake QR codes um, to get your personal information. So essentially, one of the ones that I read was, people are sticking, if there is a QR code somewhere, that you're supposed to scan at a conference or, restaurant or wherever it is, they're sticking a sticker, a fake QR code sticker on top of it. And when you scan, it's essentially taking you to a fake website, and then they gather information from you, and you're sharing the information thinking you're sharing with legitimate site, but this is a fake site, and that's how they're getting your information. So I thought that was very interesting, and I thought I would share that with you.
Quite
That's a new.
scary as well.
Yeah, I mean, I scan QR codes all over the place. Like, that's my new thing now.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like the threats are getting even like more sophisticated, especially that quishing thing that you were talking about. Because I'm in college right now, and we all use QR codes all the time because it's more convenient. Um, but yeah, that brings me to the big question for this episode. We talked a lot about how scammers use social media. They exploit social media to get our information. But like, what can our listeners do to protect themselves while still like enjoying the benefits that social media provides?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that there is plenty of proactive steps that you and I can take. The first and foremost is awareness. Um, Create awareness. Know your surroundings, know your environments. And the next one, I cannot stress this one enough, is use strong, unique passwords. That's like almost the door to your house. Everyone protects the main door, right? Why would you not? Similarly, use strong, unique passwords. Another one is avoid using easy to guess information like your birthday or your family member's birthday or your pet's name as your passwords. Um, Even consider using a password manager. If you're having hard enough time remembering all your passwords, use a password manager to generate or to store your passwords. But make sure they're complex enough where they cannot be easily guessed. Um, Another thing is, and we've talked about all of these in previous episodes, but these are important and need to be repeated. So another one is enable two-factor authentication, which is also called 2FA, on your social media accounts, not just on your devices, personal devices, but you can also enable 2FA on your social media accounts. And this will add extra layer of security because it will require you to provide a second form of identification, essentially, other than a password, which is a code or, sent to your phone or email. Um, And like I had said before with 2FA, even if a hacker gets your password, they won't be able to access your account without that code, without that second FA. Also, be cautious about third-party apps. Before you grant any permission to access your social media account, do a little bit of research, do your due diligence. Make sure the app is legitimate and that it does not request more information than necessary. If you're suspicious, stop, think, take a minute, think what information you're providing. Remember, these apps can sometimes serve as a backdoor for hackers. Another key step is to regularly review your account activity. Most platforms like Facebook or Instagram allow you to check what devices are logged into your account. So if you notice any unfamiliar activity, log those devices out and change your password immediately.
Yeah, that's some great advice. I know we mentioned in our previous episodes about 2FA and complex passwords. I feel like that's like a staple in today's cybersecurity landscape. Um, so one unique thing about social media accounts is like you have privacy settings. Um, like, can you talk a little bit about those like privacy settings that we should consider, and are there any ways that we can use those settings to like limit what people can see about us online? Maybe that might deter hackers from accessing crucial information about us.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Daha. So each social media app has privacy settings that allow you to control basically who can see your posts or personal details or activities. For example, you can choose to make your profile private so only your friends can view your post. I know for sure Facebook has this feature where, if you make it private, only your friends can view your post, not your friends' friends or their friends. So it limits to who can see. Even LinkedIn has something similar. Um, what this does is essentially, it's not all about like post, but in your post, a lot of times, you are posting your photos, you're posting your location. So only your friends will know you're on vacation, not their friends or, some fourth person out there. They don't need to know where you are. So the information is only shared with relevant people. It's also a good idea to be mindful of what you share. Avoid posting real-time updates about your locations or sharing any personal information like home address or phone numbers or anything that is specific to you. Also, if you're using social media for professional purposes, make sure there's a clear boundary between your personal and public life.
Okay.
I can, yeah, go ahead, Taha, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like it's a TLDR. Just don't focus on the passwords only. Also be mindful of like what you share and who you share it with on these platforms. That was just my 2 cents on what you just said, but could you continue?
No, no, what I was going to say is if you suspect your account has been compromised, the first and foremost thing you should do is change your password immediately. Most people panic. They don't know what to do, who to report to. The first thing I would advise is change your password. If you're unable to log in, most platforms have an account recovery process. You will need to provide information to verify your identity to regain control of your account. And so since it goes through that process, you can go through it and set a new password. But changing the password will lock cyber criminal out immediately. Next, review recent activity on your account to see any suspicion, if anything you see that's suspicious or any suspicious post that has been posted from your account. Um, you can go ahead and report it and have it removed. Also, make sure to log out any devices, for example, if you notice it from their phone, of course you've logged out from your phone, but if it's your laptop or if your iPad or whatever other devices you've logged on to, log out from all of it and re-enable two-factor authentication if it's disabled. Finally, like I said, you can notify the platform support team, and they can often help you recover your account, or they can even help with investigating if any malicious activity occurred from your account.
Well, this has been such an informative conversation. Thank you so much for going not only over like the preventative measures artists can take, but also what they can do when they actually get hacked. Because I feel like if I got hacked, then I'd be very worried. I'd panic. But thank you so much for like giving us like clear steps that we could take, such as contacting the support team or like re-enabling FAT 2FA, because I didn't know that you could actually do that like after you got hacked. But to wrap things up, what's the single most important piece of advice you'd give to people who use social media about staying safe online?
Oh, absolutely. The most important advice, I think, is to stay vigilant. The more aware you are of the potential risks and the steps you can take to protect yourself, the safer you will be. You know, just to kind of cap it all up, strong passwords, enable 2FA, always think twice before sharing personal information. And lastly, please, please, please be very careful when clicking on any links, even if it's from your friends, think twice. Check for all of the parameters before you click on a link. So, those are the things that are utmost important. Everybody should know.
Yeah, I would also say don't scan QR codes that you may not know about, because we did talk about phishing earlier, and that really scared me when you talked about it, because I'm scanning QR codes all the time. So just be mindful of like the links you click and the QR codes. I think that if you hover over the links on your laptop, you can see a preview of the page that you're viewing. So like try that if it's possible, so that like you don't, you know, get a hacker having access to your personal information. But that's it for today's episode of Cybersecurity Today. I hope you found our deep dive into the cybersecurity on social media both insightful and helpful. I think we've covered everything from phishing scams, credential stuffing. I think that's what you mentioned, and as well as mentioning strong password management and privacy settings, which is a must for all platforms online, not just social media. And now, thanks to this podcast, you're armed with the knowledge that you need to stay safe online. So, once again, a big thank you to Mrs. Tasima-san for sharing such valuable insights. And if you have any more questions or anything you want to learn about in the the cybersecurity landscape, please visit our website as well as check our other podcasts on our YouTube. Once again, our website, Tekglide.com, where we offer a range of services to help make your website secure and fully optimized. Um, so whether you're looking for guidance on website maintenance, hosting, or cybersecurity, we've got a team of experts that have you covered. In the meantime, stay safe, stay informed, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Cybersecurity Today. Thank you.
Thank you.